We're going to talk on life balance quick. Because this is a really quick subject because we all have it. How many people in here would say your life is balanced? Oh, Mary. Do you want the microphone? Mary's going to be our speaker today. Who else in here has a pretty balanced life? Sarah? Is it Sarah? Sarah? Loopy? Okay, just kind of tell me what are the keys to doing this? This is going to be interactive again. This is when I form the question, and then you all answer, okay? So, Mary, if I said, what is one of the keys to life balance? What would you say? Enjoying the things that you do. Okay, Loopy? Hating the things that you hate. It's kind of true.
Yeah. For me, I just, when I leave work, I leave work. And I go home, and I'm home with my family, my grandchildren, with my children,
So you have the ability to make the separation work, home, and then there's a straight line. Great boundary. Sarah?
I think you have to have something that you're passionate about outside of work that draws you. So
Can you hear that over there? Something that you're passionate outside of work. Okay, so if I'm passionate about it and I'm good at drawing lines, how many people are good at drawing lines? How many people have something they're passionate outside of work? We're going like this. And then what happens once we do this? Do you see how easy it is to cross over? Can you flip the next one, my human flipper? I love this thing. The great thing about gingerbread men is that each one of them is a new chance to bite someone's head off. I love her. She makes me crack up. If you need something to laugh about, she's the one. I'm going to tell you, what I'm going to talk about today is about your life plan. You're going to go, oh, come on. And I may not tell you anything that's new, or I might tell you one little nugget that you might want to incorporate into your life. That's up to you. I'm going to give you what's worked for me and for some of my clients. And if you can find one little thing in it, because you've all heard about life balance 8,000 billion times, you could turn it around, spin the ball, stand on top of it. But if you learn one little thing, that's one thing that you can take home and see if you can do it. About 5 years ago, remember I talked about that 11-year-old? I had a life that was, again, spinning out of control. And I guess that you sometimes have to hit bottom, and that was kind of hitting bottom for us when I told you about my 11-year-old. And about that time, my husband and I decided that we were going to make some changes. He owns his own companies. I own my own companies. We're very busy, and I always thought that this was my motto. I have it on a coffee cup. Some things are just better done by me. Guess what? Not so good at sharing, not so good at delegating. But I thought that I could do them almost better, well, technically better than anyone. And life was falling apart. So after this whole thing with my daughter, my husband and I decided, let's talk about what's really, really important. I guess it's been almost 6 years. And we went away. And how many people in your offices do business planning, strategic planning, human resource planning, human resource allotment? I mean, how many people do that? Planning for patients, planning for other care. How many people do this? How many people do this in your personal life where you say, wow, I'm going to make a life plan this year? How many? Well, just raise your hands. Don't be shy. Right. So close. I'll tell you something. My husband and I decided that we would go away together. And because we're both business people, we took it on like we took on planning. Like if you would go on a planning retreat in your office, you'd go away, and you might come to the Chase for 2 days with all of your top people, and you'd have this planning day, and you'd come and you'd go home with all these great mission, vision, goals. You know, isn't that the thing? And we both had them for our companies. And we went away 6 years ago, and we did our own life planning. Can you flip that for me, hon? And when we did it, we said, you know what? We want to do in our life what we do in our business, because we were pretty good about doing it in our business and putting boundaries around it and good with our employees. But at home, not so good about it. So we defined life's mission. We defined our goals as far as what they were with relationship goals, family goals, financial goals, defined strategies for achieving our goals. I'm going to have you flip, and then we'll come back to it. We identified red flags that prohibit our mission achievement. We evaluate them quarterly. Imagine that, we evaluated our plan. That's weird, huh? Readjust as needed, and then we lived the plan. Can you flip back for a second? Thank you. Our mission in our house was, you know what? Ultimately, my husband and I want to get to heaven. That's our personal thing. And so we defined our goals as to how we'll go about that, and then define strategies, which are those that are under your goals. What are the pieces that we need to do to incorporate into our life that are going to live and fit our mission? And guess what? If they didn't live and fit our mission, because we had all these things out there, where do you think they went? Excuse me? They went away. Do you know how many things are sitting out here in your lives that may not fit your mission? Guess how many? About what percent do you think? In our case, I don't know what yours is, but in our case, 80% of what we were doing, it was like that 80-20 rule. How weird is it that it even fits in your own life? I thought it was just a business strategy. Really, 80% of what we were doing did not fit in this. The best part for us was, once we defined what our goal was, and our mission and our goals and our strategies, we could put those things out there that were red flags. What's a red flag? Something that made you go, stop, caution. And one of the things that we did in our house is we have dinner once a week. It's mandatory sacred family Sunday. So they all came to the lake with me yesterday, and we all shopped with my daughter, sacred Sunday. But typically, we have sacred Sunday. We have pizza, popcorn. That's our big day together. And you know what? Nobody gets in the way of that. Not travel, unless we're all together traveling. Nothing gets in the way of that. And if it does, and people are saying, no, we want to have so-and-so out, we want to do this, what happens? What happens if we start letting some of those sacred times go? They'll disappear. Do you think it takes very long for them to disappear? It's sort of like that train that's going down the track, and you know, like you see it building momentum, then you see yourself like hanging on by a leg like this. That's how it gets. So you need to define what those red flags are in your life and say, no, I'm sticking to these red flags. If we're not having dinner, if we're not doing highs and lows, that also, anybody in here have young kids? I'm going to give you a really great thing for the rest of your life for your kids. So the rest of you that your kids are growing, do this with your grandkids. It's the best thing I ever did. How old are they, Brad? Perfect. Perfect age. You sit down at the dinner table and you say, give me one of their names. Julia. What a beautiful name. You say, Julia, tell Daddy what was your high today. Tell Daddy what was your low today. So you explain to her what your high is, Julia, is the very best thing that happened. What's the ickiest thing that happened? And Julia, what are you most grateful for? Or how did you make a difference? Guess what? My kids are 13, 16, and 19. What do you think we still do every time at the dinner table? Highs and lows. Do you think it's important to them? It's important to them. And as a dad, and as you just heard Kelly speak, if you want to keep them in some of those percentages, if you're not doing your highs and lows, guess what? They're going to fall back over here because it helps you get a heartbeat on the day just like that. I also tell people to do it in your offices. How many people do this in your offices? How many of you meet for 10 minutes in the morning and say, what's your high and low? What was your high and low yesterday? High, low, and what are you working on? What's your challenge today? How many people do this? Okay, I don't want everyone to raise your hands, just a couple of you, okay? Does anybody do this? I'm really serious. Anybody? Once a week is good. I'd push for more. Does it make a difference? Can you tell me how it makes a difference? Tell me your name. Elizabeth, is that Chico's? Oh, it looks like it's cute. I love them. Okay. I'm just kind of in a fashion craze today. You have nothing to give. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, I feel like one of the kings at the manger. Oh my gosh, I have nothing to give you. Just give me some gold, frankincense, myrrh. What do you got?
How it works really is there's two of us in the main office most of the time, and we just touch base. What do you work the next day? What my goals are for the day? Kind of what our day is going to look like, and then we just start our day. So typically it takes about 10 minutes and a quick how was your night? Did you have a good night? Okay, and then we go on with our day. So then she knows where I'm at throughout the day. I know what her plan is.
What are the benefits? Okay, the feature is you talk about advantages.
I know if I have to jump in to help her, she's got a big project. She knows where I'm at. If somebody's coming in to ask where I'm at or where I'm at.
Did you hear this over here?
And then it's just kind of, we just fill each other in on the details of what's happening around the building, around the campus. So we just kind of are really informed, and there's no big secret. I know more than she does. She knows more than I do. It's just a lot of communication.
It alleviates a lot of the crap. Does this make sense to you? If you know where people are at the beginning of the day, this is going to alleviate a lot of your drama. And also, if you know, instead of them having, because the reality is, we talked about this earlier with someone, I was talking about something, but there isn't a line in the sand. And if you can do this, good for you. Loopy can, and I think you should give a conference about this next year. Most people cannot have a line in the sand that they are definitive about, that here is work, and when I walk over here, I am now home. It typically does not work that clean and clear. But what you're doing at the beginning of the day is when you're saying your high and your low and what your challenge is or what you're grateful for, people know it. And then you're done. You don't hear about it all day long. So by the end of the day, it gets this big. Does this make sense to anyone in here? And then you know what? If Jody's having a problem or say, this is my challenge, or my low was, my dog died last night. You know what? We don't have to talk about Jody's dog, but you know what? We're all going to be a little more empathetic and know, you know what? Jody's a little bit sad today. And when you take your Minnesota personality inventory test, you know what she is, and you know how she deals with sadness. And you know what? You're going to know how to treat Jody today. You're not going to want to know why she's so crabby and moody and whiny and all the other things. Does that make sense to you? 5 or 10 minutes, and then it's it. You don't get to go on and on and on. But that's the quick answer to the long answer in the office. Your kids will never, I promise you, forget this. Ever. Never. My kids never forget it. 19 years old, almost 20, coming home, and that's what we're doing. Can you flip it again? I find it helps to organize some things. I find it helps to organize chores into categories. This reminds me of what you said, Loopy. Things I won't do now, things I won't do later, and things I'll never do, okay? I'm going to talk a little bit about attitude, and this is nothing you haven't heard before. I'm going to give you a quick concept of what I've learned. I'm not a morning person. I'm a creative person. Do you know most creative people are up at night? They're nocturnal. I'm a writer. And my husband is a morning person. So he likes to get up about 4. I've now changed. He's a farmer. He's an ag person, so he's, they're up early. We have been married for 23 completely years of bliss. You guys have been too? Yeah. For 23 years. Had I known this when we said our vows, I don't know that I would have done it. No, I would have. For 23 years, when we're together, when he's home, he gets up every single morning, and I kid you not. He goes into the bathroom, looks at himself in the mirror every morning. He's the most confident guy I know. and his name is Tom. And he looks at himself in the mirror and he goes, "It is going to be a Tom terrific day with a capital T." So I'm hiring out. Does anyone want him? No. 23 years of this. He is the man in the home who wakes up the kids every morning. Because remember, I was nocturnal. I'm not anymore. But he would go in, and he would go into my son, Alex. "Alex, it's going to be an awesome Alex day. It's time to get up." And then he'd go in. "It is going to be a beautiful, Bitsy day. It's time to get up." Oh, see, I could never work. I got in your personal space. See, I would get fired. So fire me. And then he'd come in and he goes, "It's going to be a grateful Grace day. Come on, Grace. It's time to get up." You know, they'd be stretching it. And then he'd come to me and I'd go. And then he'd try to use some R thing, all different all the time, like usually something involved that he wanted to smooch or something. Guess what? I got so sick of it about halfway through. And then about 3/4 of the way through, I got really used to it. He never criticizes, condemns, or complains. He never really does. That's his, but every morning he puts on his attitude like he does his clothes. And it's the coolest thing. So my son is a sophomore at Carlson School of Management this year. He's now in an apartment with 4 guys. So I go down, 2 weeks ago, we just flew down for like a half a day and had lunch and all this. So the kids and I and my husband. And anyway, one of his roommates comes out. We're having dinner. We had brought pizzas over to the apartment. And it's so weird. He's like so much cleaner there than he is at home. Is that normal? And we're sitting around and we're visiting. And Mick, his roommate, says, "Okay, here's the weird part about him. We don't know where he gets it." I mean, I have no clue what they're going to talk about. He goes, "He is the most upbeat guy. He's never down. You know, he picks his attitude every day, that guy." And I said, "Yeah, he's a pretty positive dude. We're pretty proud." I said, "I think it's great." He goes, "Yeah, but every morning," Mick goes, he comes into my room and he goes, "Mick, it's time to get up. It's going to be a marvelous Mick day." Because it just seems weird. And then he's got another roommate named Jack. So Jack pipes up and he goes, "He does that to you too?" I thought it was just me. What do you think the number one thing my son missed when he went to college? I mean, I'm sure besides my cooking, all right? What do you think the number one thing that he missed? And beginning his day with a great and positive attitude. Just think if you just did that. Who would ever go home and do this? Like, and just let me know how this worked out for them. I know at first, they're going to think you're crazy. They might check you in. But your attitude, I mean, and I know it's so overused, like just pick your attitude, but really, it does make a difference. I mean, you know in your offices who doesn't pick a good attitude. Not so fun to work with. All right. Here's one of my favorite things. How many people are good at saying no? You're getting better? Well, congratulations. Guess what? Your award is coming. I didn't bring a fancy iPod or anything today, but your reward's come and stop at my table. How many people are good at saying no? Oh, Loopy, why wouldn't you be? You know? Oh, why is she not doing this session? You know what? You should get your money's worth from her next year, and she should be doing this session. So what's the trick?
Well, there's just certain things that you have to say no to. You can't do everything. You can't be everything to everyone. So there's times when you have to say no. And I say no.
Once again, great boundary. Is it hard for people to say no? Okay, we're all from Minnesota. I love this. Okay. When we say yes, you know that we're saying no to something else. So when we say yes to all the junk we say yes to, You know, for all the things that really don't matter in the whole scheme of things, they're not going to say, oh my gosh, Patsy, you worked 69 hours. When she dies, guess what? They're not going to look back and go, wasn't that the amazing week she put in? It ain't going to happen. I hate to tell you, honey, do you want to quit now? What should we call Samford today? Do you want me to make the call, or do you want to? I need the job. Okay, all right. She'll be our secret. Why don't you try for 75 hours, see what that will get you. Usually 69, 75 isn't going to make a difference. But when we say yes to all those hours, or we say yes to all the commitments that we make for ourselves, we say no to our families. Isn't that it? I mean, are we mostly saying no to our family? Well, that seems pretty balanced, doesn't it? How do you say no? And so how do we try to let people down? What are some of the excuses that we use? I love these. What do we do? Mary, come with me. Come on. Your life is so balanced. Come on.
You know, I have this couple that I have to pick up at the airport, so I just can't do that.
Okay. We have someone I have to pick up at the airport. We just can't do that. Okay? You lie? Okay. Flat out lie. I'm a liar. I admit it. I need a 3-step program. But Minnesota, we give people hope when we really mean no. Isn't this kind of how we do it? Well, I think I can. I'll try to plan on it. If I can make it, which right now is probably good, but I can't commit, so could I let you know, like on Wednesday? Okay. You like the airport, and frankly, lying is good. So what have we just told them? What is that person here? Oh my gosh, of course Barbara's going to do that. Because that's just how we are. You know what? You need to have some clear boundaries, and this is one of the things. Oh my gosh, I'm not very good at a lot of things, but I'm getting better at this one. And it's saying no. And you know what is easier to say no to? When you have a life plan and all those other things don't go with your life plan, guess what? That's not going to work out. You know, all the people that want you to give to everything, is anybody like consumed with charitable giving lately? And I think it's a great thing. You know what? Pick 2 things, pick 3 things, unless you can spiff a check every now and again. Pick a couple things, and you know what your answer is? You know what? I would love to support that. This year, we have chosen the Children's Foundation, Girl Scouts, and the building fund at our church. Thank you so much. Please think of me another time. Period. End of story. They do not need to know what your financial status is. But because we're Minnesota nice, we're like, well, if, I gave so-and-such, we give them this whole spiel. Guess what? They don't need to know. And here's the other deal. Christmas is coming up. Now, Brad, you probably don't do this. Does anybody go really overboard at Christmas? How many people think it's stressful? This is another area that just kind of cracks me up. I mean, it does and it doesn't. Here's the deal. We have this much money. In our family, we don't do presents. My kids get one small present. They have their whole life. Guess what? They don't expect anything. Brad, this is another, you know what? You have young kids. Let's just say you and I, this seminar's for us, okay? It's just on parenting. Okay, I'm going to give you some hints on parenting. I wrote them in a parent magazine, so I still believe them. They get one small, they get one thing that they want. That's really on their wish list. It's not a big thing. Together as a family, whether it's your intimate family, whether it's your extended family, whether it's your church family, your community, pick one thing that you're passionate about. And every year at our house, this is how we simplify it. My family will pick what organization we're giving to this year, so my kids and my husband and myself research it and decide why we're giving to it. And then when we're all together for Christmas, we pass around an envelope to all of my siblings. and everybody puts money in. I have no clue how much they put in. But you know what? I would have spent probably thousands of dollars anyway on Christmas. No one knows if it's 100 or no one knows if it's 500. And then we do a presentation on why that group is getting that money. We are so excited every year to find out what the organization is. We could give a rat's about any gifts. And then you know what? We have a huge bingo tournament after. And that's what the kids remember. They can't tell you that present. Brad, they'll never tell you the present. They won't remember it. But they're going to remember if they got to spin the bingo wheel. Simplify it. Simplify it. Declutter. How many people have a cluttered office, a cluttered life, a cluttered home? Anybody have any extra clutter? Anyone? Okay, here's the deal, people. Clutter takes energy. Say that with me. Clutter takes energy. Do you understand what I mean when I say clutter takes energy? You have to dust around the clutter. You move the clutter. You take it in your office. Hi, Bob. How are you doing? I'm great. You having a fun day?
Great day.
Good, great. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Oh, thank you. What about this? Oh, look at, she's still got the price tag on. That is perfect. That's priceless. Clutter takes energy. Whether we're moving it around our office or taking those papers, or we're moving something in our home, otherwise we're in the garage and we think we have like this perfect rubber piece that we're probably going to use on something, maybe to fix a bike or patch a tire. You know what I'm talking about, right, Bob? Yeah, exactly. So do you use those a lot? Because my husband has a lot of that stuff laying around.
He needs them. He's a farmer.
Yeah, he doesn't need them. Oh, glory. We have a vineyard, and so he has more parts that he thinks he's going to tie a vine with. I tell you, my God, if we tied a vine, or I don't know if he's going to tie me. I'm not sure what he's collecting, but stuff takes energy. Does that make sense? If you can go through and just do one little thing at a time. I know you've heard about it, and you know what? I think you have Organizing Audrey coming tomorrow, don't you? Oh, yeah, she'll get you through this. You will be so organized at the end of the day tomorrow. But I'm telling you, that stuff is overwhelming. Does anyone get overwhelmed when you can't even know what to do in your office? Or, I mean, I'm not different than you. This was what we did in our life plan. You're never going to believe this. 5 years ago, we lived in a big, huge log home on a lake. We had a beautiful place. Guess what we did? I still can't believe it to this day, but it has been the most, how many people, just a second, are good at getting rid of clutter? One person. Okay, what happens when you get rid of clutter? You feel great, okay. Describe great. Free. Free. Perfect. Thanks for working with me. Thanks for letting me feed you the word. Beautiful. I'd like to give you this bracelet, but we might be taking it back, okay? We're not sure on it. I think it's a good... Oh, I wasn't telling you it was yours. I know you're busy. I know. Sorry. Oh, look at the guilt. Oh. Okay, so 5 years ago, we sold our house on a lake. We bought an old farmhouse, and I'm not telling you to do this. We sold half of what we had. We got rid of our cars. We now drive a car. My car is 10 years old outside with higher miles on them. Half of what we had, we decided where we were going to give it away or how we were going to invest it. Mostly, we gave it away anonymously. And I know people probably thought we were crazy. No one really knew why we did it. And I had all these antiques because, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't get rid of an antique because they're old and they've been here forever. And not that I burned them, gave them away, sold them. Can I just tell you, and our house is half the size of our other house. And if it doesn't fit in there, guess what? It has to go away. Guess how much didn't fit? 80%. Isn't that weird? Real weird? Guess how much I cry at night because I miss it? 80%. None. I can't even tell you what was in there or if I've missed anything. And it has been the most freeing thing. I'm not telling you to go sell your house and sell your cars and sell your children. What I'm telling you is that if you could get rid of, 10%, start with that. It is the most amazing feeling in the whole wide world. The last thing I'm going to talk about is that this has really helped, this one little tidbit. Who can describe joy in here for me today? Who knows what joy is? Bob? If I said, Bob, what is joy? Well, this isn't going to be a test. You think about it, Bob. I'm going to come back to you, okay? All right. Because I've only got 7 minutes, okay? A, B, C, or D. Okay, hold on. Who would like to describe Jim? I've picked on you enough. You're safe so far.
When I come home from a day of a lot of meetings, and I make hamburger helper, and my boys look at me and say, Mom, this is the greatest meal ever.
Hamburger helper. Our house is like that with macaroni and cheese because my kids have never had macaroni and cheese. Like, I don't really cook like that, so when we get it, this is the best. You can come over because my mom made macaroni and cheese. I get it. So how does that make you feel? Happy. And it's pleasing. It's pleasing to other people. How else does anyone else describe joy? Oh, there's lots of ways to describe joy. What is it? How do you describe it? Cuddling your grandchildren. By the way, Rosemary just has a beautiful picture of her kayaking that I think should go up here. She is such a risk taker. She's about taking her ship out of the harbor. I love her right there. Over here, what's joy? Lynette? True happiness. Okay, what else? It's not a test, people. Come on. Anyone? Peace. Contentment. Contentment. There's a quote, and once again, can't remember who it is. I didn't say it. I love this one, but take it for what it is. Joy is not the absence of suffering, but the presence of God. So in our life, as our mission statement, that's kind of what we're about. So it means that you can have good and you can have bad. You can have happy, you can have sad. But it's that feeling that you get of contentment that no matter what, you're grounded. It's sort of like, anybody do yoga? You know how you get in the mountain position? Anybody in here yoga people? Anyone? You know the mountain position. Plant your feet on the floor. That's like where you find joy, where you can get planted and rooted. That's joy. Okay, there's a lot of things that can bring joy. And then this is what I just want to talk about for 3 minutes. There's a lot of things that can take joy. And I call these joy suckers, okay? Does anybody in your life have a joy sucker in your life? First, let's define what a joy sucker is. What is a joy sucker? People with negative attitudes, okay? Negative attitudes, what else? What are their attributes, their features? Oh, yeah, but. Yep, they're the but people. Yep. Mm-hmm. What? They're needy. What else? What else do they look like? Think of somebody that you might know. Maybe you have no joy suckers, but think of someone you might know that's a joy sucker. What do they look like? One-uppers. I like to call them toppers. Toppers. Always something better, bigger and better. Yeah, I got to. They never feel good. Never smile. Perfect. What else? Never satisfied. Never good enough. Yeah, totally. They got dealt a bad hand, can never get out of the hand. Yeah, they didn't get a king or an ace. What else?
Well, if they're not happy, they don't want you to be happy.
Right. Oh, exactly. Drama. They love drama. Do you know that joy suckers love drama? They don't think they do, though. They would say they don't. When do joy suckers need you? Yeah, with the joy sucker, you're on 24/7, okay? That's when they need you, 24/7. What happens if you would put a boundary around a joy sucker? Has anyone tried to ever do that? Okay, put a boundary around them. Say no to the joy sucker. How does that work for you?
They go away.
Yeah, you have to usually about 5 boundary trips. Or they get, yeah, but that's with the first one. Yeah, you're going to feel guilty. And then they're going to make other people try to see something bad about you. And then they're really going to talk about you. And then the fifth time, you know what? You're not even going to be on their radar screen. Here's my husband. You can tell he's in sales. Here, Loopy, you could use this. He loves to say this. Well, honey, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if they're talking good or bad about you. Just keep your name out in front of them. But that's what a joy sucker does. One of the best things that you can do is in life balance, declutter, life plan, and edit those joy suckers. Think of one person that's like this. If you could do one thing and start editing them out, and if it's your husband or wife, I'm sorry, that's like family and marriage therapy. I can't help with that, but the reality is, if you can start putting healthy boundaries around that, remember we talked about that 80-20? You're going to gain so much of your percentage back if you can get rid of some of those joy suckers. And if you have them at work, who was I talking to? Jim. I think we were talking during the break, weren't we? About, I mean, I don't get this, and you guys are all in human resources, so you could probably tell me, because I have some consulting clients that I don't get why they can't put a zero tolerance on crap, zero tolerance drama. Why can you not do that? I mean, I understand I get this, but why can you not set a boundary, put it in policy, police the policy, monitor it, document it, and if it happens, then here's your warning. If it happens again, you're done. Because these people are the venom in our organizations. A lot of times they're the venom in our family. Do you have one joy sucker in your family or your extended family? They are always trying to stir the pot. They're pot stirrers. If you're one of them, knock it off. Because you know what? You all think you're popular, but you're not. So if you're one of them, take heed. But what I'd like you to do when you leave here today is think about how you can edit those joy suckers. And this is going to create more balance than you ever could think of. You can declutter one thing, declutter one little area. I don't care if it's this 3x3 space right here in your office or if it's in your house. Just do it. Start on it. And you don't really know what's important until you do your life plan. This life plan has probably been the most freeing thing I've ever done. And when I've done it with other people, I've seen people all over the country do their life plan, and their life has changed dramatically. They have joy. They have laughter. Isn't it funny? They have all the things that you would want in a legacy. They have more friends. They have deeper relationships with their family. They have faith. And isn't that ultimately what most of us want? So it goes right back to what I talked about earlier this afternoon. And your legacy is made up of choices and how you react to the cards you're dealt. So when you leave today, try to just do one of those things. My life, honestly, is so much richer because that we did it, and we have such a simple life. And because it's simple, we get to truly, truly live from the inside out. And I wish that for all of you because it really is freeing. So go do one thing. Email me and tell me if you did one thing, or Facebook me. I'm always dying to know what everyone did. So go have fun. You guys, the minute to win it, I really wish I could stay tonight. I'm kind of sick that I can't. Because I would really like to win one of those prizes, and I think I'd be good at it. And quite frankly, I'm very confident. I think I'd be good at it. Does anybody have any quick questions before you take a break? Anything? Any questions or comments about my presentations? Did you have fun? Did you laugh a little bit? You know what? Did you laugh? That's good. Good. Good, good, good. All right, go have fun. I'm going to be here for about 15 minutes if anybody wants me to sign any books or wants anything, and then I'm going to pack it up because Chuck is going to speak after this. Do we get it together? Should I just keep? He looks like he's going to be wonderful. He's very patient. Very patient. I love patient people. All right, thank you.
Renee? Thank you very much.
Thank you. You didn't have to pay me an extra 10 grand. Is this coming out of Brad's budget? No.
I can't even. Yeah. We'd like.
Thank you guys for the jewelry.
Yes.
If anyone else wants to add to the collection, that's so nice.
Don't forget, she's got some beautiful merchandise back there, and bring it back to your staff.